Phase Zero Season 3, Episode 16 starts right now. I'm your host, Brandon Davis. We got Aaron Perrine in the virtual building.
What is going on, people? It is a massive show. Massive show today. Let's get to it.
Massive show. Jenna Anderson is here.
Hey, everybody. This is an especially chunky show. I am so excited for this one.
Especially chunky show. We got a lot to talk about. And part of that chunkiness is, my friend, you'll notice we got somebody here in the studio. We got our special guest today. Once the real life roommate to Venom. That's on the resume.
True.
A legend on the 49ers, four-time Pro Bowler, most receiving yards in the half by a tight. I mean, I actually wrote down a whole bunch of records that you broke here.
Thank you.
Most receiving yards in a half by a tight end. First tight end to lead the league in yards after a catch. Most receiving yards in the first 3 seasons by a tight end. First tight end to achieve at least 150 receiving yards and 1 touchdown in 2 consecutive games. You also broke a whole bunch of 49ers records. Those are just the NFL records. And you recently conquered WrestleMania with Pat McAfee. I was like 30 rows behind you. I was messaging you like, dude, are you at Mania? You were like, yeah, I'm right behind the announce table. 30 minutes later, me and my buddy Joe are sitting there, and you're putting the smackdown on the Miz. Our guest on today's episode of Phase Zero, George Kittle.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, thanks for having me. What an intro, man. You're like Paul Heyman. You can just hype me up.
I acknowledge you.
Thank you.
I acknowledge you. And I acknowledge Enterprise for sponsoring today's show. Thank you so much to our supporters at Enterprise for helping support Phase Zero. We love you guys for it. George, above all those things, a huge Marvel fan.
Yeah, you could say that. I love all superhero things. It's hard for me to talk bad about any type of superhero movie, comics, whatever it is. I'm a huge fan. I got comic book characters tatted on my body. Big part of my life. Yeah, you have the Joker on one arm. You got Master Chief on another arm. I got Godzilla, Hobbs from Calvin and Hobbes. I'm all in on the superhero and that type of stuff. So excited to talk some superhero stuff today. I actually watched Ant-Man Quantumania last night. Caught up on it finally. So yeah, excited just to talk Marvel and DC, whatever you guys want to dip your toes in tonight.
I want to start with Quantumania because this is gonna tell the audience a lot about you. I think
it will.
We have all shared our opinions at length on Quantumania by now. You just watched it for the first time last night on digital.
Yes, just purchased it last night. Just had to sneak it in.
And what'd you think?
So I have thought that I'm a huge Marvel guy. Like, I enjoyed Ant-Man more than I enjoyed the last 2 movies that came out. Was it spectacular?
You liked Quantumania more than the first 2 Ant-Mans?
No. Oh. I'm sorry. More than Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. I enjoyed it more than that.
Thor 4.
Yeah. Significantly better than Thor 4.
I'm with you on that.
I thought it was better than that. I think they put their foot back in the right path of the direction that the movies should be going. It felt more like a Marvel movie than a bunch of random stuff kind of thrown in together, what Thor 4 felt like and what Multiverse of Madness. Those both were just a lot going on, and I didn't really feel like a Marvel movie. This one fell a little bit more into that. I thought the Ant-Man stuff was fun. I really enjoyed the Kang character, all that was really fun. There was a lot going on. A little too much, maybe. Yeah, a little bit too much, maybe. Yeah. But I enjoyed it. I'm not going to say, hey, that's a top 10 movie for me, but definitely enjoyed it.
I feel like we're all kind of in the same place because I don't think it was bad. I just don't think it was very good.
It wasn't great.
Yeah, it's okay, it happened. It finally gave the MCU some direction again.
For sure.
Jenna, Aaron, what do you guys? That's we're all kind of in the same place on that, right?
I absolutely it's weird how we all individually have kind of come to the same sort of consensus. I'm glad to hear that we're not alone in that regard.
Jamie doesn't think that.
yeah, that is true. That is true.
Hated it.
Jamie's one of our regular co-hosts, and Jamie sends her best to everybody on the Phase Zero audience. Her apartment complex is getting the fire alarms tested at random hours of the day, so she was it's probably for the best that I'm not squealing in the background with the fire alarm. But she did not like this movie, almost to the point that she was offended by it. Which is
What's your life?
I mean, the movie. I think the only credit she gave to it was Kang. The performance from Jonathan Majors was the only thing, I think.
And Michelle
Pfeiffer.
Oh, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah, that's true. So I was doing Jamie a disservice there. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I agree with some of her criticisms. I think I just don't feel as strongly about them because I saw Feige after the movie. I got to go to the premiere and I walked up to Feige.
Humble brag,
dude. And he asked me what I thought of it, and I said that was the weirdest movie you guys ever made. And he goes, the weirdest. And I was like, I don't know what else to say, dude.
Hey, I feel you on that. So there's a couple times where I've gone to movie premieres, like they put them on for my team in California, and I always have to give like a little quote after the movie.
Yeah.
And they did that for Doctor Strange, and I was like, it was weird and different. You know, I don't know what else to say about it. I don't know. I didn't really love it, but like, thank you so much for letting me see your movie. Like, I love Marvel, so
yeah.
No, I mean, I enjoyed Scott Lang. I thought the daughter-father relationship was kind of fun. There were some definitely plot holes. Like, hey, how did Kang get away from the 1,000 ants? You know, that he just got murdered by, and like was able to come back up and do one final fight scene. Great fight scene, but like, how did that happen? And why was she sending signals down into Quantumania, whatever that is down there? And why is everybody Tony Stark smart? Like, I don't know where that came from too. Like, everybody is just a genius. Like Michelle Pfeiffer, she can just throw stuff together. Hey, here's a new creative thing. Here's a new way to, create energy. I'm like, what is going on? Why is everybody so smart? That's crazy.
Yeah, the smartness. Actually, we're going to talk about a smart character that's getting cast that there's a hot new rumor about later in the show. So I'm just going to tease y'all with that one. So stick around. But yeah, I mean, I think you had like the Tony Stark's world, you had the Shuris of the world, the characters who were like, all right, these are the obviously very smart people.
For sure.
But I think Hank and Janet are
definitely they're upper tier because the Pym particles. I get that, but like
Cassie being a teenager who suddenly can do anything that after spending time in juvie, like, okay, well, but I don't know. I'm not one of those people who's like, hey, I need to see a training montage. I don't need to see Cassie going into the library every day to read every book and gain all that knowledge. But yeah, it is interesting.
I just like when you have people that can do the Tony Stark level stuff, to me, it like takes away from how cool Tony Stark is and all the cool stuff that he did. I mean, like that's my only problem with like, let's just leave that level of intelligence to certain characters.
So is Tony your guy? Like, who's your all-time MCU character?
My favorite, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Is Tom your favorite Spider-Man?
Ooh, I think he does the best job portraying it because Tobey Maguire is like 28 when he was cast. So like, I think he fits the mold the best. Now, like, I love Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock is one of the best Marvel movies they ever released. And then I throw the Green Goblin with Dafoe, like that is top tier entertainment. I even like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man too. Like I'm gonna enjoy all of them.
Yeah,
I think Tom Holland does a great job too, especially like in the MCU. It just kind of connects everything the best, in my opinion. But I do think the second Spider-Man was the best of the Spider-Mans, though.
And we're like a month and a half away from.
And Spider-Verse. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't even touch that. Yes. Into the Spider-Verse is like that's a top 3 movie all time for me. Like I've seen that movie 100 times. I watched it on every plane ride. Fantastic soundtrack, fantastic characters.
I think you and Aaron just became best friends.
Yep, for real.
I was Miles Morales for Halloween. I wore the whole Spidey suit for Halloween, like that.
Are the pictures on Instagram?
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah.
Oh man.
And then my wife was Gwen too, which was pretty sick. So like
cool. Oh,
yeah. No, I'm all in. It is way too much fun. I love Miles Morales. Such a great character.
And for everybody who's listening to us in podcast form, you can't see it, but he's got the Spider-Man T-shirt on here. He rocked it for the occasion. We're out here. All right. I did want to, dude. I know this is a Marvel show, but I had to ask about the WrestleMania experience.
Yeah,
dude. Okay, so first of all, how did that happen? Because like, did Pat call you and say, "Hey, man, we're doing a bit"?
So basically, since when he came on and fought Austin Theory last year in Dallas and then got stunned by Stone Cold at the end of the night one. And ever since then, because I've been on Pat's show a couple times, I was like, hey, if you ever need a backup, I got your back. I'll be at every WrestleMania. If you ever need anything, you need me to jump out of the stands, hit somebody, throw somebody through a table, get thrown through a table, I'm your guy. Like, whatever you need. And like, he was like, hey, just, be ready. Like, kind of starting a feud, maybe I might have an opportunity at WrestleMania. We don't know, we'll figure something out. Just be ready to have my back if you're there. And, then he finally gets there. I saw, and, WrestleMania happens. We're going through. The Miz has his open challenge and all that stuff. And McAfee's music pops. And I was like, well, hey, here's my shot. This is the guy whose back I need to have. And he's going against Miz, who's one of the best villains, best guys on the mic in the WWE universe. So he's fantastic. So I was like, well, hopefully he mouths off just a little bit and Patton gets into a fight. And that's what's kind of happened. And Miz was running away. I was just, chanting at the Miz, get back in the ring. That whole big thing gives me a nice shove. Can't touch the fans, Miz. You got to know that, man. Especially when the fans are bigger than you are. Goodness gracious. So got to hop it. Got to do a clothesline, celebrate in the ring with Pat McAfee. Then that was an incredible moment. And then I got to meet Vince McMahon afterwards too, which was like a first. I mean, that was pretty like in the little room where they do all.
He was in Gorilla.
Oh my goodness, that was a rush. My heart rate didn't like lower until probably 1 a.m. that night, but it was one of the coolest moments of my life for sure. How
does it compare? I mean, dropping a clothesline, getting in front of a crowd on the grandest stage of them all versus scoring a touchdown.
So I've done I played in playoff football games. I've won big games. I've lost big games. And, there's like a level of anxiety that goes into, like performing on a stage. Like playoff football, it would be like 2 to 3. 2 would be getting ready for WrestleMania, and 1 would be singing Kelly Clarkson live on television. That was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done my entire life. I was in a full sweat. I think I had drank several beers beforehand just to kind of calm down, but that was probably the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life, was singing a Kelly Clarkson song.
Well, what we didn't tell you is Kelly Clarkson is here for the repeat.
I am out of here. Oh my goodness.
Dude, I mean, what a life, what a resume you're putting together. I'm happy for you, man.
Thank you.
Because you deserve it, dude. And I think the WrestleMania thing, it's just like I'm assuming you grew up a wrestling fan.
So I have a really weird relationship with wrestling. So like I watched Stone Cold and The Rock a little bit growing up, but like not none of my friends were really into it. So I was like in and out of it. I was a big fan of The Rock, especially when he was doing his Hollywood stuff. But it was really like my third year of college. I had one of my teammates who is now an indie wrestler. Like he's been wrestling for like 6 years. He came over to my house 3 summers in a row, and I watched pretty sure every wrestling match that was on the WWE network, and that's all I watched for every summer, like probably 4 to 6 hours a day. And he got me hooked back into it. And so like, I've been like I watch almost every show weekly for like the last 6 or 7 years.
So if you had a finishing move, what would it be called?
Stunner.
You'd use
I just use that or the RKO are my 2 favorite.
Oh, dude, yeah,
the RKO onto a table or something. I don't know. Remember Randy Orton's RKO on Seth Rollins in the middle
when he caught him?
Yeah.
Oh, the stomp catch.
Curb stomp.
Yeah.
That was in Levi Stadium, my home stadium. Then that was like the year before I got drafted. So like hitting one of those would be a complete dream come true.
Dude, that'd be dope. Hypothetically, if I were to ever be a wrestler, I would absolutely use a finishing move called the end game.
Oh.
I'd have to. I would have to. And I would want it to be some sort of RKO variation. That's what I've always thought too. That's cool. That's cool.
Oh, just snap on him. That's funny.
So you've met all these wrestlers now.
Yes.
Have you ever met any of the Marvel actors? Have you ever had an encounter with these people? Have you ever met somebody who turned out to be a fan of you when you're like, hold on, you're Iron Man, you're Captain America? Have you had the chance to meet anybody from the MCU yet?
I don't think I have.
Did you meet Tom Hardy when you shot the Venom commercial?
No, sadly.
Because that was
sadly no. That was just me and Venom by ourselves.
Oh, just
that was just us. No, I haven't had an opportunity. Hopefully, dude, I'll meet anybody. I'm a huge fan of everybody.
Dude, we got to get you one of these. I can't believe you don't go to more of these premieres. Like
I know, right? I wish dude, I try. Just a lot of the cool stuff always happens when I'm in season. It's just hard for me to get away.
That's true. Guardians of the Galaxy premiere is coming up next week, and they're like, you can't bring anyone to this. I was like, can I bring my mom? And they're like, probably not.
Dang it. Please.
We got to get you on that. I mean, I can't imagine it would be hard to get you on that list. I mean,
Guardians of the Galaxy. That sounds fun.
Dude, next week, hopefully we all say, I don't know, we're figuring it out. And then it comes out. We're trying to put together a screening here in Nashville. Hopefully we're able to pull it off. But we just did Evil Dead Rise, which was a lot of fun.
That comes out when?
Thanks, Warner
Brothers. May 5th?
Yeah, Guardians is May 5th. So hopefully we can get a screening here and just, pack it out and have a good time with howling fans. But I also have my tickets for opening night at Opry Mills. So either way, going to go see it at least once after.
That sounds exhilarating.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about, I want to get your thoughts on like phase 4 and 5.
Okay.
In general, we talked about Quantumania, where it ranks, with Thor and Doctor Strange. This is another thing we have beat this horse ourselves. Whenever we have some new blood on the show, we got to get the thoughts.
Yeah.
Superhero fatigue is a conversation. There's tons of new heroes. There's new favorites. There's good things. There's things that are disappointing. Everybody has reactions across the board.
For sure.
What has stood out to you since the post Avengers Endgame era in the MCU? What are the things like that have really caught your attention?
Well, I mean, the multiverse and the Quantumania stuff, like that is obviously the forefront, and like that's the direction we're going, right?
Yeah.
Like we're diving full head into that stuff because of all the possibilities you can do, all the different character variants, all the different storylines. Like they can literally do whatever they want now. They can take any comic book, combine it with another comic book. They can do whatever they want. Initial reactions, mildly disappointed. I think we're all kind of in the same boat there, right? Like, I mean, I'm happy that Marvel movies are coming out. I'm not extremely excited about all of them. Like I said, like I was so excited for Doctor Strange, the second one, and that was like one of the biggest letdowns. Thor 4 completely brutalized me. I almost left the theater. Honestly, like we went from like an awesome Thor to we're back to like Thor 1, who's completely ignorant about his entire life and everything's a joke and everything's a punchline. Like we took an awesome Thor character, and then you also had the Natalie like her Miss Thor, whoever that is, and like not really any background into it. You just kind of threw her into it, and all of a sudden she can wield the hammer and do all this stuff. And it was like, I don't know, like the aura, I guess, of like being a superhero might be, that could be like the superhero fatigue you're talking about. But just like, I don't know, like the original Avengers, and there were less characters, all that stuff, but like each character had such a cool role, and it like felt like such an important character. And when you just keep spreading out, well, this person can transport through different dimensions, and it's just like, come on now, like. So now you're basically just given, and like I know these characters exist in the comic books, right? Too. So it's not like they're just pulling out of thin air, but it's like the things that made like the original, the phase 1 and phase 2, even phase 3 so good is like you built these storylines with these awesome characters. They overcame, like their character arc was fantastic, and then it all came to an end. And so it's just like I get they're trying to do that, but you still want to. The baseline is you want to have these good character arcs, develop these characters, and like have them win, have them lose. But like there's just so much stuff going on right now. It's just kind of distracting from plot lines. And I don't know, I also think like I said, like there's just kind of plot holes occasionally, and you're just kind of like, come on, like you didn't see any of that in the first 3 phases. Like how many bad movies were there in the first 3 phases? Like besides Thor 2.
There's I know
Thor 2 is
not entirely, but largely align with everything you just said. I know Jenna and Aaron don't really. They've been much bigger fans of Phase 4 than I. I mean, not that I'm not a fan of Phase 4.
I will say,
but they've really defended it, and I want to hear that.
I will say the TV shows. I've enjoyed all the TV shows. WandaVision was fantastic. Loki was fantastic. The Falcon, and that was all right. Like it was okay, but it was definitely the worst out of the TV shows. But like, yeah, all the TV shows. Moon Knight was fantastic. Like I didn't watch the what's the black and white one. The horror one.
Oh, Werewolf by Night. The best.
I'll hop into that one. I'll have time to finally watch that. So I'll get into that one. I've heard nothing but great things. But like all the TV shows, and I'm so stoked for Loki season 2.
Yeah.
Especially after the teaser at the end, like of Ant-Man. Like, so I'm pumped for all that stuff. It's just like Doctor Strange was one of my favorite characters, and to have a very like letdown of a movie, that kind of bummed me out. Just because he's like Benedict Cumberbatch is the perfect character for that role. And it's just like, come on, like. It should be this hard.
Jenna, what do you think of everything George just said?
I'm just thankful for the chat acknowledging She-Hulk's supremacy, because that also, I needed to say that as the She-Hulk stan of the show. But no, I'm glad that you like the TV shows too, because like that has definitely been for me like the most interesting experimentation of Phase 4. Like I know the movies have taken on such a completely different context now that we have the TV shows and we have such a larger amount of Marvel content. But I think that I can see how you then have this disappointment with some of the movies. I'm curious what Aaron thinks too, because I know, especially with Falcon Winter Soldier.
The rule number 1 is that you don't insult the hosts. You don't insult the hosts, you don't insult the guests. I did enjoy it a bit more. Like I get that they probably need to reset the board. Everybody's getting everything they wanted, so I don't want to hear anything going forward. Although there's a lot still up in the air too. Like I'm like, everybody won, and I don't know. Like we'll see. I enjoyed all of it. It's fine. Like the reaction to stuff like the Mandalorian earlier today just proves more of what I was thinking about. I'm like, I don't think people know what they want from anything. I don't think they do.
Yeah.
Wait, do people not like the Mandalorian? Actually, well, that's a conversation. I just watched it right.
I haven't watched it yet.
Don't say anything. I'm not gonna say anything to you about it.
I watched it.
Chill.
Yeah, we're not saying a word.
Wait,
we're not saying a word.
We guys, She-Hulk. Like, what were your guys' thoughts on She-Hulk? Because like,
she's my favorite Marvel character, so I know the show was different. I know the show's not for everybody, but it got the essence of who she is in the comics, and so I loved it on that sense. But that being said, I do recognize like it was divisive to an extent. It didn't necessarily hit with everybody, but it definitely hit for me because it knocked it out of the park in that regard. So
also, the only thing I didn't like about it was the finale. I just thought that was so much going on. And then I did like the scene where like she kicks out the screen and then she jumps into the different Marvel TV show. Like that's really funny. But the only thing is like, once you break down that wall, then like, can every character do that? And then it's just like, okay, well then what really mattered. I don't know. I just like fell into some rabbit holes. I was like, that mildly bothered me. Like there's just like a bot that controls everything. Like what is going on?
Let it go. Let it
You
go.
just gotta relax and let it roll, baby.
Yep.
Don't think too hard.
That's funny.
Yeah.
No, I liked She-Hulk, and then it got to a point where I felt like all the things they were setting Jennifer Walters up in terms of an arc, I kind of thought were undercut by her kind of finding her fulfillment by finding Daredevil and Matt Murdock. Like I loved seeing Daredevil, but then ultimately I felt like the finale, which I thought was incredibly creative, but I thought the finale kind of undercut the arc that there was going to be in terms of kind of ending in a kind of status quo place at the end. I don't know. Jenna might think I'm wrong on that. And I actually want your thoughts on, because I don't know if I've ever worded it that way with my thoughts on She-Hulk.
I mean, like, we've had this exact conversation in different wording on the show, but
That's
no, like
true.
I totally get that is the take on it. For me, it's like she is one of the few characters who can break the fourth wall. That is such a huge part. Like they tease it over the course of the show, and they kind of tie it into her own personal like enrichment and fulfillment as a person, and her embracing She-Hulk in a way that like Bruce has never embraced the Hulk persona. So in my mind, it does all kind of tie up together really nicely. Are there probably things that could be changed? Sure, but I think like for what they had, I think that they nailed it basically in tying all that together.
Satisfied the biggest fans. I mean, that to me is the most important thing they can do. I mean, that's also the thing with having the TV shows. Not every show, like the movies in phases 1 through 3, felt like they were. I will never say that the Marvel movies are generic, but like they weren't so genre focused, and so like they were made to appeal to a huge audience. And now you're seeing in phase 4 and 5, they're making different things that not everything's going to be for everybody. No. Whereas like in phases 1 through 3, it certainly seemed like there was more stuff that it just was able to appeal to like $1 billion worth of people each time.
Very true. I mean, like if you're not caught up on Loki and like the Doctor Strange stuff, WandaVision, then like Ant-Man Quantumania made probably no sense to you.
Well, and that's we've had that conversation a million
Zero
times.
Sense to you.
I used to feel like, okay, if you watched Loki, then you'd go into Spider-Man No Way Home and that you would be rewarded for watching Loki. But in Spider-Man No Way Home, they didn't really do anything to tell you how Loki's season finale set up the multiverse being open. But all right. Well, so we all are on similar enough pages with the MCU. We all still love it, and we're watching everything that comes out.
Love it.
And we just, we want things to get, maybe some people are higher than others. We all want things to get super excited to be the best it can be, because we're all going to watch it and enjoy it and find the things we like in it. Hell yeah, I'm going to keep watching this stuff. I'm on this train until the wheels fall off.
It's
dude.
So good,
and the wheels are not even close to falling off, so that's good news. Before we take a break, I'm going to put you on the spot. 2 questions. First question: in Captain America: Civil War, were you Team Cap or Team Iron Man?
Cap.
No, this was going so well, dude.
Yeah, wait, because he was. Yeah, no, because he was. But then Spider-Man's on Team Iron Man. That's tough for me. That's really tough for me, dude. Why would you do that? The only reason I said Cap was because in the Ant-Man movie last night, he referenced it like 3 different times. Hey, I fought on Cap's side. Yeah, I flew to Germany. I fought on Cap's side. I don't know. I think I liked what Captain America was standing for a little bit better than Team Iron Man, which because like the Accords and all that stuff. I thought that stuff was lame.
I think a lot of people in the comments are going to agree with you, and I'm okay with that because Team Iron Man is the right answer. If everybody wants to be wrong, you can go ahead.
But I mean, I'd follow Spidey in the battle any day. So that's just me.
Underoos.
And
the last one. I mean, in all the phases we've got so far, do you have a favorite title or like a top 3 if you can't choose a favorite child here?
Into the Spider-Verse is my favorite. I love it.
Wow,
It's like literally my favorite.
Yeah.
Nothing like there's nothing about that movie that I don't like. Everything. Let's see. Close. What else do I love? I really enjoyed the first Doctor Strange movie. Like I thought that was just completely different with all like the mind altering stuff. Like I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay.
I mean, again, like he's the perfect character for it. Like Benedict is awesome. I think that's how you pronounce it, right?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah. And then I think now I'm not even remembering all of them, but the original Iron Man is
It's up there. This is one of the most
That's
interesting, unexpected lists I think we've ever had here.
Thank you.
I mean, it's a good list. I respect the hell out of it.
Endgame, all that stuff, fantastic television. But just not like Avengers isn't a standalone to me because it's just a team up.
Oh, see, Guardians of the Galaxy and
Infinity
War and Iron Man are in my top 3.
Guardian of the Galaxy definitely would make that list or be number 4.
Maybe it's just like my ADD is like, I need more characters. I need everything all at once.
I don't know. The first Iron Man was so fun though.
It's great. It
just kick the door down.
I'm with you. Iron Man's my guy. All right, everybody, we're going to take a 1-minute break. When we come back, we're going to run through some news. And the first topic that's coming up, it's a huge problem for me. And we're going to talk about it. We are wasting no more time before getting to it. See you in a minute.
Oh, that does look annoying.
Welcome back to Phase Zero. BD here with Jenna, Aaron, and our special guest today, George Kittle. We got some MCU news to talk about. It's the part of the show where we keep you up to date. First of all, thank you to Enterprise for supporting Phase Zero. Second of all, guys, I'm beside myself. Lego is finally releasing a massive Avengers Tower. Like, reliable rumors about it are finally happening. I'm gonna buy Avengers Tower before I know who bought Avengers Tower in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yes.
Tony Stark sold Avengers Tower.
He did.
That was in 2017, bro.
It's been a second.
We still have not seen Avengers Tower since then, except for in Spider-Man Far From Home in 2019 when he swung through it. And now the Marvels trailer released, and in the New York City skyline, it's not there. Does Kevin Feige hate me specifically?
That's actually pretty aggressive. I didn't even realize that.
Dude,
what are we doing?
Where is it? This to me, everybody's in the comment section when you were talking about the state of the MCU and we were kind of sharing your thoughts on it. People were asking, what plot hole? What plot hole? This is a plot hole.
That is a plot
This
hole.
wouldn't have happened in the Infinity Saga. And I think that's just because they had enough time between projects to make sure everything aligned. Now they did the same amount of screen time or run time in 2 years that they did in 11 years. So it's hard to make sure everything lines up. And that's why you go back to episodes of Miss Marvel later suddenly the color of the Statue of Liberty changes to match up with what's going on in Spider-Man No Way Home. When they released it, it didn't match up. So they hate us. They're never going to tell us who bought Avengers Tower. Do we want to spend any more time talking about this? Does anybody have any thoughts, or should we just...
I will just say we did bring this up when we talked about the trailer last week, but it didn't feel right because you weren't here to also talk about it. So I'm glad that you addressed it in your own right because, yeah, this is a travesty. As I said last week, it's a spirit Halloween until we are told otherwise. So...
Wait, so did he sold it and then did the guy buy it, just knock it down? Like what?
I'm hoping
what are we doing?
that it's just an unfinished VFX shot that made it into the Marvels trailer because they faked us out in trailers before. I'm still waiting to see the Hulk run through Wakanda. But, I don't know, man. I don't think we're ever going to find out who bought Avengers Tower. It's either Wilson Fisk, it's going to be Fisk Tower, or it's going to be the Baxter Building for the Fantastic Four. But I just want to know, man. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. All right. Speaking of everything we spoke of earlier, the Russo Brothers, they're promoting Citadel right now. Ooh. And that's a new series coming to Amazon. Chris Killian went and did interviews. You can find those on comicbook.com. They talked about the redirection of the MCU since their Avengers Endgame, which I remember if you like old Russo Brothers interviews, they used to just be like, well, everything we did in Endgame, well, that's everyone else's problem now. We're done. They just got free reign. And now it seems like some of those things are trying to get addressed. And this is what they had to say about the MCU since they left. There's nobody better at telling stories than Kevin Feige right now. If you're going to bet on anybody, you bet on him. Yeah. I think that the type of story that unfolded in the phases that we worked on was a very specific kind of story that wrapped itself up in those phases, and now it's time for a new story. And I think that's the direction that Marvel's headed in. They're telling you a very different story, a very new story, and I think the audience just needs to be patient with the redirection, because you can't keep telling the same story over and over, or you lose the audience. I personally don't think the Russo brothers are even watching what's going on right now. I think they watched a few things, and that's a pretty safe quote, but maybe they are.
I do like that quote. I mean, dude, I agree with them though. You do have to give it a little bit of time, because I do agree. Like if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, people are going to just start calling you out for that. Mm-hmm. Now it's also part in hand with like, hey, this formula does work to an extent. I know people like, there's certain, like you've seen like directors stuff like bash on like the superhero formula, like a lot of stuff, but like to an extent, that is what people want to see. Like I want to see the Hulk break every single building. Like that's what I want to see. Like that is a good enough plot line for me. Like I'm okay with that stuff. So like I wanted to keep it a little bit the same, but I understand like there is going to be a new direction. You kind of have to, especially all these new characters and all that. I don't know. You guys can jump in on that.
Yeah, I will just say, like, for me, this is further, I've argued this on the show before, of like, I don't necessarily need the Russos to direct Secret Wars, because I feel like the way that the franchise has evolved into something completely different since they last directed, I don't necessarily need them to come back around. And I would like to see a director like kind of take all of the new pieces that we have now and put their own stamp on it. And I think like this quote kind of argues that from themselves too, of like the story is completely different. You just gonna have to follow it through. And so it's like, I would almost love to see another director like take that on. But yeah.
I'll acknowledge that this might be recency bias, but after what they've done with The Mandalorian, I could see Jon Favreau or today's finale director, Rick Famuyiwa, doing a movie like that, doing a movie like Secret Wars. But Jon Favreau, I mean, he did, Iron Man, and Rick Famuyiwa's done some of the best. He was supposed to do The Flash at one point, right?
Yep.
So he's got the chops.
One of many directors.
Yeah.
Like 7.
All right. So speaking of Chris Killing's interviews, Russo Brothers also talked about directing a DC property, and rather than narrate it, I figure we can just watch the clip.
I know you guys have been pretty upfront about the fact that, you might not go back to Marvel for a long time, but I am curious, would you ever be interested in having conversations about going to do something for DC? And if so, what DC character would pique your interest?
Oh, yeah.
That's a great
We don't
question.
get asked a lot about DC characters.
But, obviously James over there running it, it'll be a no-brainer. We love him to death. We love the direction he's going to take that world in. He's going to be inventive with it. And favorite DC characters. I mean, man.
There's so many good ones.
I know, there's so many good ones. I mean, it's everything. I always answer based on the comics I collected as a kid, right? And the 2 comics I collected the most were Spider-Man. Actually, the 3 were Spider-Man, X-Men, and Batman. But there have been a lot of iterations of Batman. So, I feel like that's an obvious answer. But
I know it's hard not to answer that.
Considering that Batman's sort of like taking care of. Well, I don't know. They got some stuff. I mean, I know you guys can't tell me. I was just curious about which characters it would take for you to have that conversation.
And it's a hard, like, here's the thing. Here's how we haven't actually gotten literal about it and specific about it, is because, Batman would be my favorite character for my entire childhood. But obviously, it's been well explored.
Yeah.
I can't tell if they're saying they want to direct Batman, or Batman would be the character they wanted to do if he hadn't been done so many times. It seems like they're kind of saying both. Jenna, how are you taking that?
Because I'd write up this quote for the website, and I know the interpretations that it then had on Twitter were all over the place. People were like, "Oh God, their version of Brave and the Bold would be a completely different movie." I do agree with him that like there are so many different takes on Batman, so I'm sure that is a lot of pressure. But it is just kind of the thing of like in a hypothetical dream scenario, like I can see why they would want to direct Batman. But I'm sure whatever James has cooking, like they probably have directors in mind, and we just don't know who they are. So, but this whole discourse has just been very funny to me.
Yeah.
Don't you think they would dominate like Batman Beyond?
Dude, actually, that could be pretty solid. I'm a Russo's fan. I know a lot of people in our comment section, a lot of people online are kind of over the Russos at this moment. A lot of Russos people. I'm still a Russo Brothers fan. I like Joe and Anthony and their work. All right, we're running a little behind you. Let's keep it moving on to the next topic. Jen, I think you got this next one, right?
Yeah. So also from the Citadel junket, Richard Madden commented on Ikaris's fate after Eternals. Sounds like he's not coming back, which I know we've said on the show. The Eternals probably aren't coming back a lot anyway, but roll the
Question, Richard. I'm with comicbook.com. I have to ask one nerdy question, and I'll make it as painless as possible. I'm sorry, but do you believe that Ikaris is dead?
Well, he flew into the sun. That's kind of hard to come back from.
But...
Isn't it?
But...
I mean, if he's like Superman, that just makes him more powerful.
Yeah,
he's
there
just
you
going to
go.
come back unstoppable
He sucks
now.
in the sun's energy.
We don't have a sun anymore. Thanks a lot, Ikaris.
Yeah, so I don't think he's coming back. Jenna, what do you think?
RIP to Little Icky, by the way. Just continuing
Little
our joke
Icky,
from
Little
2
Icky
years ago
shout.
on this show. Yeah, I like I've said on this show so many times. I said it during our predictions episode at the start of the year. I will be shocked if like any one of the Eternals like comes back in the immediate future. But that all just feels so unresolved. And so I feel like Ikaris in particular, it seems like his story kind of got played out. It seems like it kind of hit its course and he flew into the sun, and who knows beyond that. But I'm sure Aaron has thoughts too.
Oh, it's just God bless Chris for like prefacing that question with 14 qualifiers, just like I would, because it's like I know you don't want to ask about this, and yet they leave it open too at the end because he's like they could call me and I will not turn that down. So it doesn't seem like we'll be getting Little Icky back. We can cross him off the eternal survivor pool we have going for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back.
No, I'm with you guys. That seemed pretty obvious. like, hey, you can call me. Like, I'm available, but like, probably not.
I don't even know if he'd want to. I heard so many things about that production. I think that, and then when the movie comes out, it's so ill received.
Yeah.
Like, what motivation is it other than $1?
People did not enjoy that movie.
Yeah,
Me being one of them.
is that low on your Phase 4 board?
That's why I didn't mention it before, because I forgot it was released.
Yeah.
Wow.
It had like good ideas and stuff. I really wish like the bad guy, like what were like the bad guy animal
Deviants.
those
The
things,
Deviants.
like I wish those just would have had like more to them. Like they were kind of like a big deal, then they disappeared for half the movie, then the guy like became like a super deviant, and then they beat the hell out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Not
that
a
could have been
perfect
more.
film. Not a
No.
perfect film.
There were fun parts of it.
I mean, Druig and Makari were hands down my favorite parts of that film, and they were barely in the movie. Like, it had so many good characters.
Ooh, I will say, like, seeing the
And a really awkward sex scene.
yeah.
Yeah.
What are they called? The Colossus? What are those big things called that like come out of
Celestial.
the Celestials?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. No, seeing like that whole process, those were sick. Like that idea, I would love to see more of those. I'd love it like a Celestial movie. Like that'd be cool. Like see those bad boys.
You're like the first person I've heard champion that. I mean,
No,
that is some
I-
straight up deep cut comic stuff too. That's some Jack Kirby. That is like
I would really enjoy that because those things I don't know enough about them, and like that was the first time they've really been in anything, right? But like I think those as characters are pretty sick. Like, and then it's half its hand and its head are just kind of sticking out of whatever sea that is. It's just like holy cow, like that'd be quite a monument to go see once in a while.
well, if the rumors are true, Cap 4 might touch that, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, we got it. Let's move on to the next one here, Aaron.
Okay, we got Thunderbolts reportedly getting rewrites because it was too heavily focused on Black Widow characters, and now it's going to be more around that in the new draft. Isn't it being written by the Beef writer, Jenna? Yeah. So he's retooling it. Everybody loves that show. Anybody got any thoughts about it rounding it out? I thought this would happen. I completely thought when they were like, oh, it's Black Widow 2, basically. I'm like, it's probably got to be more like an Avengers movie with all of them in it because that's what people want.
Andy Park, who has been on our show, he's the overseas visual development. He does concept artist. He posted that Thunderbolts photo, those concept art photos, and then in the caption wrote like #Black Widow sequel, and then edited it and removed that part. That part's not in the Instagram
That's
post
funny.
anymore. But I mean, this is the follow-up to Black Widow, but it's also the follow-up to Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's the the follow-up to Ant-Man and the Wasp. If the rumor of Ghost being cut is false, which we don't have, I don't know if I have no insight on that, so don't take it from me. That's just Twitter talking. And there's so many characters. It could all. I mean, it's also kind of like if Val is in it, then it's a follow up to everything in Phase 4. And David Harbour said they're gonna drop a bomb in the MCU. So I'm like, well, we still don't know what that is. And Stephen Yeun, I don't care. I want this movie to be good. It's got a stacked cast.
It does, actually. I haven't seen too much about it, but I am interested in it. I mean, it's kind of like you said, Avengers-esque. They got multiple characters, could have some fun storylines, branch out from it. Hopefully it's pretty decent.
Yeah, I hope so, man. That's
Wait, were you guys big Black Widow fans?
I was pretty big Black Widow.
I liked it, yeah.
Cool.
Jamie, who isn't here, is like our biggest Black Widow fan. Like she ranked that at the top of her rankings for all of Phase 4. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
I mean, it was definitely an action-packed movie. I'll give you that. The only issue I've ever had with Black Widow is she has no superpowers. And this chick is running through exploding palaces in the sky and just everything, it's, you know what? It's kind of like the new Star Wars movies where the Force, everything just happens the exact way that it has to happen for the movie to work. And that kind of wears on me sometimes when it happens a lot. And that kind of felt like to me the whole Black Widow movie, so many things had to happen perfectly for her to survive anything.
I didn't mind that. I the only thing I minded was her surviving falling out of the sky. I thought the third act was ridiculous.
Yeah, that whole I thought what was her dad's name? The guy from Stranger Things?
Alexi.
Yeah. Awesome.
He's great.
He's fantastic. Yeah, I think it was really fun. I enjoyed it. It was a good storyline. But the third act, I was like, what is happening right now?
It escalated really.
It was a lot.
It started with a Winter Soldier tone, where it was grounded, and then all of a sudden they're falling from the sky. But I mean,
it worked.
To be fair, they fell out of the sky in Winter Soldier too.
They did.
We can't.
They fell out of the sky a lot.
Yeah, that's
maybe stop going into the sky so much, guys.
Stay on the ground. But I liked Black Widow quite a bit, and yeah, Jenna's right. Jamie definitely is our biggest fan. I still get crap for how much I like Black Widow on Twitter. People are like, "You liked Black Widow? Your opinion's invalid." Well, all right, bro.
I love the internet.
Yeah, don't we? All right, we got this one's a hot new rumor that I see a lot of people picking up today. Daniel RPK, who has been right enough with these kind of things to certainly be acknowledged, said we're chalking this up as a rumor. All right, this is from Daniel Rickman, pretty often reliable scooper. Says Adam Driver is in final talks to play Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four. I have no insights. I could reach out for comment. I won't get one. So
I'll reach out.
Go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead and reach out for us. I'm gonna be honest. I don't hate it.
I love it.
I like Adam Driver. I mean, I saw 65 and it was definitely a movie, but Adam Driver's commitment to that role in 65 gave me a ton of respect for him. He was the second most underused character in the Star Wars sequel trilogy, behind only John Boyega, who was completely awfully butchered as a character. Poor Finn.
Oh my gosh, at the end
but
it was
then
terrible.
Ben Solo also just turned out to be an absolute dud by the end of it, which was a shame. And I think Adam Driver is a tremendous actor. And I'm honestly kind of surprised he'd go back to a franchise as big as Star Wars after seemingly not having a great experience on it. But I'm here for it, and I bet you this man is working in Avengers Tower. Aaron, you're at the top of the screen. What do you think of this rumor if it turns out to be true? And do you believe it? Oh, you're muted?
You're muted.
Yeah, he's one of the guys who got batted around with Diego Luna and what's Penn Badgley from You and all these other things.
Diego Luna was a rumor once?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
And that was my leader in the clubhouse. I know everybody wanted Krasinski to come back, but I do believe it. And I was saying to Jenna before the show started, while you guys were getting everything set up, George, you might be able to lend me some expertise about this. When you are around people who own boats, you become cognizant of the fact that there's always a bigger boat. There's always someone who got a bigger boat than you or got a better car. And maybe you just want that check. And maybe that's what it is, because he did not sound like he wanted any parts of this. Him and John Boyega and Kelly Marie Tran were all like, we are cool. You see, Daisy Ridley is back in the fold. Mm-hmm. I think it's only a matter of time for Boyega gets his toes in the franchise water. So, why not? I got a summer house to build,
Damn straight. There's quite a paycheck behind those movies.
Oh yeah, especially if you're already a name. Like Adam Driver's not somebody who Chris Hemsworth was not, Chris Hemsworth before he was Thor. Marvel blew him up. A lot of there in the Phase 1 saga, there were actors who, well, RDJ made his comeback through Iron Man. Chris Hemsworth made himself through Thor. And not saying he wouldn't have been successful without it, but it, shot him all the way up. So,
Chris
Adam
Evans
Driver
too, kind of like he was still, he was popular, but like
he had done,
after that, but like
he wasn't Captain America yet. You know what I mean? He was Human
America's
Torch. So I think like Adam Driver, he's the guy who's going to come with a big old price tag if you're going to get him in one. I assume. I don't know.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I like this casting. I think that it helps me imagine who could be around him. But I also remember all the rumors that they were going to cast Sue Storm first. So maybe they already did. Oh, God, if it's Adam, who do you want to play Sue Storm? Oh, this conversation. I like Emily Blunt. I like
she would die.
I like Eiza Gonzalez if she can pull out, like if they'll commit to blonde. Like I want the look of Sue from the comics, but I don't really care it's not a make or break to me if they look like they do in the comics. Those are a couple of Aaron, Jen, I know you guys have a couple. I know you had this conversation.
I still because I know there were the rumors that like they were casting Sue first. I do think that's the ideal way to go, and I hope they are still just privately doing that, because it is this thing of like, if Sue doesn't have a good chemistry with whatever Reed you pick, whatever then like the entire team falls apart. So I hope that they are still kind of anchoring it around Sue. My thing with the Adam Driver bit is, I was telling Aaron, even if they bring these people on stage at D23, even like I still will not wholeheartedly believe that this is the Fantastic Forecast until like this movie starts coming out, because we have been burned so many times. I just feel like we are stuck in this endless hell of fan casting and speculation. And I've heard the Adam Driver stuff for a while now. So even today I was just kind of like, we'll just wait and see. But I don't know.
Yeah, we heard the Penn Badgley stuff for a while, and now we're back. Yeah. Now it's Adam Driver's the hot one. I remember when Asa Butterfield was cast as Spider-Man, and then it was Tom Holland. It's just constant. It's fun. It's fun though. Do
they bring Chris Evans back as Human Torch
in Secret Wars? Probably.
That'd be so sick. I would lose my mind.
Dude, he's not going to be the Fantastic Four movies Human Torch, but no. I can see. I hope Secret Wars brings everybody back. Bring them all back, even if it's just for like
it's like another Spider-Man. Just bring everybody back.
Yeah,
it'd be so fun.
Ben Affleck's Daredevil, man. Jennifer Garner's Electra. Bring them all, put them all in there, and just destroy all the universes one at a time, so we can actually see an incursion with actual stakes, instead of Doctor Strange just being like, "Well, this is where an incursion happened, and it means nothing to you at this moment." Yeah, exactly.
It's just more of that stuff. Yeah, it means nothing to you, but that they're gone. Don't worry.
I mean, Hugh Jackman's back. Bring them all. Come on. Where's Halle Berry at? All right, we got to keep rolling on this. Jenna, hit us with this Agatha news.
Yes, so since Jamie is not here, I will be the representative for Agatha Coven of Chaos today. Patti LuPone was on The View, and she revealed what character she was playing. Aaron and I were joking. It's like, you cannot convince Alfred Molina and Patti LuPone, all of these people, to stick to their Marvel NDAs. They are still going to randomly reveal this information in the weirdest places. So she was on The View, and she basically revealed that she's playing Lilia Calderu, and she was like, I'm in this coven with all of these hot witches, with Aubrey Plaza and Catherine Hahn, and it's just great. And so Lilia only has 5 comic appearances to her name. She maintains the Book of Cagliostro, which is a thing that like her family has kept for generations. And she has a fling with Mordo, and then has a daughter with him named Astrid, and then is killed in a fight with Mordo. So that's all we have for her in terms of comic canon, but we at least now know one of the other witches who will be involved in this show. So I just love that Mordo she already spoiled everything. Yeah.
Ooh. I would love to see Mordo actually have a meaningful role. I'm glad they didn't cut his head off to open up Multiverse of Madness, and that's interesting. That's interesting. Oh, Professor Jenna coming in hot.
Yeah,
we love it. I wonder what Patty's email inbox looked like from Kevin Feige this morning.
Aaron, what was the joke you made before we started?
She's not afraid of him. That's the craziest part, is that her and Alfred Molina, like, what are you gonna do? Like you said, she fought. I heard she dealt a mean stunner. You don't mess with legends. What in the world? They don't care about us. Like, I'm sure that it was rough, because isn't The View an ABC thing too, Jenna?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, immediately up the chain to somebody in a suit, like, oh, this is bad. We need to figure out what we're gonna do. It don't matter.
Well, what you just said makes me wonder about when that stuff happens on ABC, because I'll never forget when Don Cheadle and Mark Ruffalo sat next to each other on Good Morning America, an ABC show, and Mark Ruffalo dropped the world's biggest spoiler about Infinity War.
I remember that. What he said.
He was like, everybody dies. And then Don Cheadle was like, dude.
What?
And then he was like, well, am I going to get in trouble? And they aired it. Like it wasn't live, it was pre-taped and they aired it. And I was like, Disney owns this at the end of the day. And it still got through. I was like, wow, I mean, Mark Ruffalo.
I wonder what they did cut.
Oh,
if they let that go out, like, what are the standards for getting cut? Like, what is it?
Oh man, yeah, that's true. All right, we got one more topic here to round out today's show, and it is Aaron.
So we got Elizabeth Olsen on the Today Show, which is also is it the competing thing with Good Morning America?
Mhm.
That's Universal.
Yeah, Jenna, it's Universal. And poor Al Roker going through all the journalistic checklists with Elizabeth Olsen. Peter, do we have a clip?
Oh, we have a clip.
Ask Elizabeth. The Scarlet Witch. Are we going to see more?
It's a hard question for me to answer because I feel like my words are always twisted every time I answer it. But
See,
like,
this is a no-twist zone.
No, so my no-twist zone is, yes, I hope so, but I have no idea. When I say that, it's not because I have a loaded answer. It's because I say, yes, I hope so, and I mean it at face value.
What does it really mean?
Have you started filming?
Absolutely not.
Have you seen the script?
No.
Okay, all right. Has there been a Zoom call?
There's no contract.
There you go.
Okay, that's
You're like, oh, okay.
all right. Now we Elizabeth breaking it down right there. I understand.
What's the football equivalent to that question? Do people come to you and be like,
where are you going to free agency, George? Basically.
Well, usually I just say, hey, I just work here. I'm just employed. I don't control anything. I just show up and catch footballs.
I feel like Elizabeth Olsen's going to be back.
I hope so. Scarlet Witch is awesome.
Yeah.
How do you beat the Scarlet Witch? Make her feel bad about her kids? Like what?
Yes. Comics have proven that's literally the answer. Yeah.
Bread.
She dominates everybody. Like I don't care. You can put Iron Man, Captain. Like if it was her versus the original Avengers, who's winning?
She's winning.
Right? Like she beats Thor, right?
Oh, I really think they'd have to like come up with an insane. Like, you have to beat her mentally.
Yeah.
You can't beat her.
You have to turn her. Like you have to turn her off. Like shut down the anger. Mantis could maybe beat her. Guardians.
Mantis would be hugely important, but they'd have to like get her for a sneak attack and put her to sleep, and then
Guardians of the Galaxy versus Scarlet Witch.
Keep Star-Lord far away from that fight. Keep him all the way away from that fight, please.
How did he like draw the short end of the stick, like the short straw that says, "Hey, you're gonna ruin this"? Like, how do you feel with that character? Like, oh wow, everybody's just gonna absolutely hate me.
I'm interviewing Chris Pratt and James Gunn together next week. Maybe I'll just ask that straight up.
Yeah, you should. Like, how'd you feel when you're the guy that's ruining it? How do you feel?
I'm just gonna play this clip. I was like, Chris, I got a fan question here,
because he had no control. Like it's not like he was like, okay, hey, I volunteer, like I'll be the guy. No, like they gave him the script that says, hey.
Well, that's also the NFL scripts, right? You know, the script. Yeah.
Chill. No one knows about this.
Oh my god! All right, y'all. Well, any predictions for Guardians 3? Last question for you, George, our guest today. Any hopes or expectations for Guardians 3 since it is the next MCU title we're gonna get?
Any hopes? I hope it like falls into like the Guardians of the first one. I hope it falls into that category of like unreal Marvel movies. Besides that, I think Yumi kind of like there's gonna be a lot of big things that happen. It's the last Guardians of the Galaxy movie, so like assuming that a lot of people are gonna die. So I hope that it's just like it all makes sense. And maybe like continues to push the Marvel Cinematic Universe forward instead of like just doing another standstill where nothing really happens. So hopefully it affects other movies and stuff like that. We can build off of it. But I mean, anytime you see them on film, I mean, on a big screen, like it's great television. It's a great movie. It's just a great experience. So I have high expectations, but I know it's going to hit it out of the park.
I know it's going to be a sob fest. Absolutely ugly crying in the theater. All right, Aaron, that's all for today's show. You got any final thoughts you want to share with the Phase Zero community?
It's at Summit Lake Hornet on social media. We are just pumping out so much content here in the road to Comic-Con. So keep your eyes on the site. If you care about Picard, if you care about The Mandalorian, if you care about the Venture Brothers or Godzilla vs. Kong, which Brandon just dropped on all of us this morning out of nowhere,
what did you drop?
Go to comicbook.com.
The Godzilla Kong movie.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I love all those movies. Godzilla, dude. Like I love that. Yeah, I have a Godzilla tattoo. Like I love.
Dude,
Godzilla.
we gotta get you in there at Warner Brothers.
Oh, dude, I am so excited for that. Are you kidding me?
March 15th. I didn't know that was gonna. There you go. You just broke some news to George live on the show.
I'm in such a good mood now. Are you kidding?
Jenna, any parting words for today's episode of Phase Zero?
No, I have no pressure trying to follow that at all. I don't also have good news. But I'm at Hey Jenna Lynn on all social medias. As always, go read some comics. There's some great comics this week. She has like landmark 175th issue of her book, and it is very, very good. And there are just so many great comics down the pipeline. There's a new Green Arrow series launching next week that I'm not going to shut up about on Twitter. So just go read some comics. There's a lot of good ones.
Jamie says, go read Scarlet Witch. Go read Scarlet Witch. Billy's in it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. George, we really appreciate you coming on today's show. Had a great time with you. Hope you had fun. Anything, any last words you want to say to the Phase Zero community here today?
There's always room to grow, and don't count the little guy.
Hey, there you go. I understood that reference.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for listening today. Thanks to George Kittle for joining us on Phase Zero. We'll be back 1 week from today, back at our normal time, 12 p.m. Eastern time. Jenna, I think you're going to be leading that show because I'll be out at CinemaCon. So make sure you're following along because I'm seeing The Flash. And later in the same week, I'm seeing Guardians of the Galaxy. And I will never spoil anything for you guys, but I will give you my honest thoughts on the film. And I feel incredibly lucky to be going out there and doing this stuff. So
that's sick.
I'll talk to you all next week on Phase Zero, maybe. But otherwise, Jenna and everybody will be here. I'm pretty sure Jamie will be back if her apartment complex can get it figured out. Hopefully, Jamie can get some peace of mind. All right, y'all. I'm rambling. That's today's show. See you soon.
Go rent a car.
Rogan one time.